Hi, this video will cover publishing your QGIS project to QGIS Web Client 2. There are two options available to you. The first is publishing via the QWC2 Tools plugin, which allows you to publish directly via QGIS. The second option is the simple file upload, which you can do via your control panel, or if you're not an QGIS client, you can use FTP to upload your file. And we'll take a look at each method now. Okay, my QGIS project uses a PostGIS database as the back end. So before publishing my project, I need to add an entry to the PG service conf file on the QGIS Web Client server. So let's do that now. Okay, so here I have my local PG service conf file, and this is the information that I'm going to use to create the data source on the QGIS Web Client server. So if we go to Data Sources, Add New. Okay, and put in the host port, username, and password. And very important, we need to add the service name because there will be an entry created in the PG service conf file on the server. And here is my service name here. Okay, and click Next. Okay, it'll give us a drop down of the databases available for the connection. I'm going to select BBB, which is my database, and click Save. Okay, so our data source has been created, and we can go ahead and publish our project now. Let's start by using the QWC2 Tools plugin to do so. So if we open QGIS here and go to the Settings button. Okay, and here we see the settings that you'll use. For the instance publish URL, it is the domain name /default, default being the tenant that I'm going to publish to. You could have multiple tenants, in which case you would change this to the tenant you're publishing for. /publish, that's the publish URL. The authentication URL is the domain /default /auth /login. And for authentication service, you want to select basic, and then enter your QWC admin username and password here, or the user for that you're publishing for that tenant. Okay, so that's all good. Just select the scan directory and click on the publish current project. And give our project a name. It does not have to be the name that you're using locally. I'm going to go ahead and just call this Simple B and click Publish. Okay, and we see the new project has been successfully published. When we use the QWC2 Tools plugin, we do not have to run configure. It does that for us. That's part of the publish service. So we can now just go ahead and set up our map. So let's go to our control panel and go to Maps, Add New. Give your map a name and a description. Okay, I'm going to call mine Simple B, and the description is Simple B plugin because I published it using the QWC2 Tools plugin. And for the tenant, I just have one tenant here default. You would select the tenant that you're publishing for, though, if you have multiple tenants. And then in their theme, we should now see our Simple B map and any other maps that we've scanned here. And we can go ahead now and set a thumbnail for it. I'm just going to go ahead and use the default one and set the security for default. This is where you would assign permissions and so forth. And click Create. Okay, our map has been created. And let's take a look at the front end. Simple B plugin. And let's have a look at our map. Okay, so our map has been published. Once again, we first added the data source, which added an entry to the PG service conf file located on the server. We then used the QWC2 Tools plugin and uploaded it directly to the scan directory. And the configuration is done in the background by the publish service. there was no need to log into QWC admin to configure the project. It's done automatically for us in the background. And now let's take a look at the simple upload method. Okay, so let's now take a look at the simple upload method, which just as it sounds, we just upload the QGIS file directly to QGIS Web Client. Okay, click on Data Sources and click on QGIS. And here we're going to upload our file. If you're self-hosting or using another provider, you would simply upload your QGIS project to the scan directory of the tenant that you're using. In this case, I'm using default. So let's go ahead and upload our file. Okay, there's my Simple B project. Select it and click Import. Okay, and we see that it has been imported. Okay, now because we uploaded it, we need to run the configuration utility on it. When we used our QGIS plugin, the QWC2 Tools plugin, it ran the configuration in the background. We need to go ahead and run it here. So there's two ways we can do that. If we're using the control panel, go ahead and click on Configs. And simply click the configure button. If you're self-hosting or if you just wish to use the QWC admin, you can click QWC admin here to open that in a new tab and go ahead and click generate service configuration. I'm going to do it here from within the control panel. This is identical to the configuration that's being run over here. And this is going to configure our project for publication. And of course, for the tenant, we've selected default. If you have additional tenants, they'll be listed here below. Okay, and the configuration is run successfully. So now we can go ahead and publish our map here. Once again, go to Maps and give it a name and description. I'm going to call mine Simple B Upload because we uploaded it rather than using the plugin. And once again, the tenant is default, my only tenant here. And we should see our map here now. And there it is, Simple B Farming. And set permissions and create. And once again to our front end. Okay, so once again, our map is now published. This time we use the simple upload method. Okay, and just to review the upload method, we went to Data Sources, QGIS, and we then uploaded our file and imported it. After doing that, we ran the configuration, which we can do via our control panel here, or via the QWC admin panel. And then once we ran the configuration, our map was available, and we published our map. Okay, and finally, just a reminder that we had to first create a data source because our QGIS project is using this PostGIS database backend. So the data source has to be present before publishing. If you try to publish without a data source using the QWC2 Tools plugin, you'll get an error. If you upload it, it'll upload successfully, but then when you run the configuration tool, it'll then throw an error as well. Okay, and just to review, we began by creating a data source to create an entry in the PG service conf file on our server. We then saw how to publish using the QWC2 Tools plugin, which runs configure for us automatically. We then saw how to do a simple upload, and in that case of the simple upload, we had to run the configuration tool ourselves afterwards. And those are the two methods we can use to publish our QGIS project to QGIS Web Client 2.